Welcome back from that break, and of course we kick things off on the weekend with Manchester City, the table toppers, starting in fantastic form, traveling away to another interesting side in Wolverhampton Wanderers, a side that's in 14th place currently, a side that came in with a lot of optimism. They have a good coach, they have a lot of brilliant players. Manchester City is coming there on the back of a 6-1 win against Huddersfield. What can we expect?
Fireworks, Tony, because I'm seeing the champions of the top division, Man City, versing the champions of the championship. Yes, Tony. So if there was anything the fans of Wolves wanted last season, it was to be able to host sides like Man City, and I think there'll be a terrific atmosphere in the Wolves Stadium come this game tomorrow. And it's a game where I think the Wolves players are going to up their performance too, but nonetheless, Man City to me are going to be superior for Wolves.
Manchester City, of course, have come into the season in scintillating form, picking up from where they stopped last season. They've had a brilliant performance.
And even topping the table already. On both points and goal difference. So it's a very interesting game. There will be a couple of Wolves players that we might need to keep our eyes on, of course. We know Ruben Neves had a fantastic game in the first game against Everton, where he scored a brilliant free kick. Joao Moutinho has not yet kicked on in this side. Rui Patricio in goal is a player that probably a lot of people need to take care of. And of course, Diogo Jota, that player that was good from Atletico Madrid. So this is the side that definitely has a lot of positives. It's a very watchable game for all of you that love football. Of course, that game kicks off tomorrow at 2:30. Don't forget to kick it off. What's your prediction? I've gone for City win 2-1. I think they'll concede, but they'll win.
3-1 is what I've gone for City in that particular game. That game starts at 2:30, kicking off things at the weekend. And after that, we'll be having two winless sides. Arsenal will be taking on West Ham. Big casualties in this early season.
Big casualties, Tony. I was looking at the statistics, and I think two seasons ago, it was the first game of the season. West Ham beat Arsenal at the Emirates. But this is a game where I believe the season for Unai Emery kicks off. There is no way Arsenal is going to lose this game. He has to start picking points, and the Arsenal fans, Tony, are patient. They know Man City, Chelsea, these are heavy games to pick points from. But if Arsenal drops points
in this derby
against West Ham, then I think it will be bad news for Emery.
Is it such a torrid start for Emery? He kicked off things with Man City. He kicked off things with Chelsea. Had a game against Man City. Has a game against West Ham, another derby. A team that's also very rejuvenated. Don't forget, they've had a lot of purchases. We know that Pellegrini has a lot of work to do to integrate them and ensure that they play the football that they would like them to play. But some things that Unai Emery has not yet got right in this Arsenal season, in this Arsenal team. Two in particular for me, the goalkeeping position. I've been calling out for Bernd Leno to start in goal. He's a player that I would like to see a lot of. I've been calling for Aubameyang and Lacazette to start in that Arsenal team. We would like to see them, but they look like they are lacking a bit of sharpness up front.
There is no sharpness up front, and I want to see this come tomorrow, Tony. You've said the goalkeeping department and the front line. For me, my question would be on the midfield. I still think this young boy, Guendouzi, needs a partner in Torreira. I don't think Xhaka is a guy who can play in that midfield. I wouldn't play Xhaka in my midfield, Tony. But Emily maybe sees something we don't see in Xhaka. But as you've said, the game, Tony, will hinge in the midfield to me. Jack Wilshere comes back home. He will have something to prove. I believe he has to show the fans of Arsenal what he would have brought to the table.
And of course, the coach has likened him to Andrea Pirlo.
That's a huge likening. I read that and I'm like, Pirlo holds the ball. I don't think Wilshere holds it or passes it well like Pirlo. But it's a game that Wilshere will want to prove a point. But still, to me, I think Arsenal will have match.
Prediction
3-1 Arsenal.
I've gone for 2-0 in that particular game. That kicks off at 5 o'clock at the Emirates. Don't forget, that game is a very huge game for both teams. They've not got any points as of yet. Arsenal find themselves in 17th place, whereas West Ham find themselves in 19th. So these are teams that we don't expect in those places come the end of the season. So this is the point that they must be starting to kick off things. We'll wrap things up on Saturday evening with a very scintillating game. Liverpool hosting a bruised Brighton. Another game that we think
that I think Liverpool might cause another very interesting damage to this Brighton side.
Yeah, Tony, it will be a high-scoring game, but I think you would have said Liverpool host Man United conquer us. This Brighton team they'll be buoyed by that performance, saying we beat one of the big boys. But again, that complacency might cost them. This is a different stadium, Anfield, Tony. Liverpool does all wonders there. And I
like Liverpool when they're in the red shirt.
I think the best they can do is defend. Just Brighton has to defend, Tony. Make sure you avoid conceding 4 and more.
This will certainly be a very, very interesting team that Liverpool will be facing. We know they had a Monday night game where they won 2-0. Very, very interesting game there. Crystal Palace tried to do their best trying to quell Liverpool. We know they are not as good away as they are at home, so this will be an interesting one. They've had a solid defensive start to the season. Van Dijk and Gomez looking like an unlikely partnership.
Could be the partnership of the season.
Looks like an unlikely partnership, but looks like it's working for now. Gomez starting that season in a very, very positive manner. We would hope that injuries and all the things that have been curtailing him in the past don't come back to haunt him. So this will be another game where we'll be looking out for him. And of course, Alisson in goal is a player that we like to keep our eye on. He's playing very, very well already in the season. But like you said, I think Liverpool will be going for a high-scoring win in this one. I've gone for 3-0.
I've gone for 3-0 too.
Super single for this weekend. So definitely that game coming up at 7:30 in the evening on Saturday. But of course, we'll be having the last of the big 6 teams taking on Newcastle on Sunday. That will be Chelsea. That game coming at 6 p.m. Chelsea, don't forget, have started also in very, very good fashion.
Very good fashion.
6 points under Mauricio Sarri. We didn't expect him to have such a positive start. He's starting to show the calmness that he has on the team. He's starting to show it off the pitch, letting the players rest with their families. A lot of the information that's been coming through from the Cobham training ground. But Hazard is certainly in line to start for this one.
Yeah, Hazard, I thought he should have started last weekend. But again, he came from the bench. I think, Tony, if he starts this weekend, then Chelsea have an upper hand. If he does not start, we've seen Newcastle having some good games. I thought even when they got a red card last weekend, they should have won that game. They missed a penalty with the last kick of the game. They've shown some brilliance, this Newcastle side. And I believe tomorrow is a game that they'll be able to show what they've got. We know the history of Chelsea going to St. James is not perfect. They've dropped a lot of points in that particular stadium.
And of course, we know the form of Benitez against this big side.
He's so calculative. He knows how to pick up wins or points in this. So it's a game, I think, to me, Chelsea won't win. I have gone for a draw, 1-1.
Another very interesting prediction from team. I've gone for 1-1 draw as well in this particular game, knowing that Benitez takes calculated approaches against these big 6 sides. The jury is still out, of course, for Chelsea. There are a couple of players that they are trying to integrate into that team, starting from the back, from Kepa, their goalkeeper. They have Jorginho, who is in the midfield, still playing there, and Kovacic. We see Ross Barkley has had 2 good starts in the past couple of games. So this will be another game where we shall be testing Chelsea's depth and also resolve to challenge for the title. But yes, we've both gone for a 1-1 draw in that one. Very interestingly, don't forget, a lot of action will be happening over the weekend. There are lots of games. We'll be bringing you all those predictions and fixtures on our Facebook page. The Bundesliga returns tonight. Bayern Munich kicking things off. The champions with their new boss Niko Kovac hosting a Hoffenheim side, which is very, very interesting as well. Don't miss that game. Starts tonight at 10 p.m. And of course, the Serie A continues tomorrow with new boy Ronaldo's Juve taking on Lazio in the first game at 7 o'clock, which is a very, very interesting game. If you were to look at the past Italian history, this would certainly be a mouth-watering clash.
It's mouth-watering. We just hope Lazio has enough to on the table for Juventus.
And of course, another big game there. New manager Carlo Ancelotti will be hosting Milan with his Napoli side, AC Milan. That game kicking off at 9:30. So those are certainly big games you cannot afford to miss on this particular weekend. And of course, with that, we have nothing else left to say. Goodbye and enjoy the weekend of football.
Goodbye.
Kampala, but I'm saying too much. Maybe you're a villager, maybe you're on that shit of spitting.